Presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community. The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, BJ Williams.
Hello everybody, welcome to Read About It again this week. I'm Doug Benton, filling in for a temporarily indisposed BJ Williams. Thanks for joining us again. Our special author interview later on in the show will be with Ann Lacey, who's the author of a new children's book called Misty's Amazing Journey. But first off, we've got Susie Beasley and Phil Tolbert talking about a video that's in the library collection. So take it away, Susie and Phil.
Phil, what is this video about, the Mestiza Virgin, our Mother of the Americas?
Well, this is a very short video, actually. It's about 12 minutes long, but it gives a very good overview of the Virgin Mary that you see in a lot of Hispanic communities, on t-shirts and on caps and on posters and everywhere you go. This explains what that Virgin Mary is all about and the history behind it and why it is so important and so significant today in the Hispanic community.
So this is the Lady of Guadalupe.
Yes.
And
yes.
this was basically founded or from
way back when the Americas was discovered and the conquistadors came in to settle the area and to settle the land. They worked a lot with the peasants that were in the area, and there was some friction there going on between the cultures, of course. And so in that whole process there was a lot of discomfort. Well, at one point there was a fellow there named Juan Diego, and he was visited one night by this image, a brown-skinned figure of the Virgin Mary. And the Virgin Mary came there to offer words of comfort and to give opportunities for reconciliation from some of the problems that they had been having. So that was the significance right then, and that whole tradition has carried on into this day and age. And we see a lot of that going on now. When people are ill, they reply to the Virgin for help and comfort and things like that.
The Lady of Guadalupe.
Yes.
And now what are the special features of this particular video?
Well, again, it's a very short video, and so it's really intended for group discussions. And so they included a little study guide with it that gives you a number of questions and things that you can use for discussion groups. And that it's very, very helpful because you get a lot of questions on the significance of the Virgin back then, and then again how it applies today. And you can kind of work it into discussions, and it's very interesting.
And the type of audience, who you mentioned discussion, so that'll be for adults and older adults.
Yes, and I think it also has a section in the discussion guide for children as well, because it kind of gives you a way to approach it for younger people, and then another set of questions for the older ages.
And it will be good for cultural, different activities and understanding and all.
Definitely.
So what related materials that we have in the system that would kind of, augment or supplement this particular video?
Well, of course, Juan has become a saint, and we have a number of resources in the library system on saints, so we can refer to that resource for other saints and information as well.
And books and videos and things like that.
As well, and then we've got information on history of Mexico as well.
Well, Phil, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us this video, the Mestiza Virgin, our Mother of the Americas. This is available at your local library and perhaps somewhere in your bookstore. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny.
Hi, my name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. You know, most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Coming up next, thanks to the magic of videotape, BJ will be chatting with one of Read About It's best friends, a local attorney, John Brewer. John always brings interesting books to our attention, so let's check out what he has for us today.
Okay, John, what have you got for us today?
Well, I have a baseball book, and it's a great baseball book, and it's called The Teammates.
And it's by David Halberstam, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You know, Halberstam's kind of a noted journalist and historian, but he's written a book about these teammates from the Boston Red Sox.
Is this a particular year that he follows?
Well, there's two stories in this. There were four players: Ted Williams, Bobby Doerr, Johnny Pesky, and Dom DiMaggio. Dom was the younger brother of Joe DiMaggio, and actually a fantastic baseball player himself, but it's about their experiences when they were teammates on the Boston Red Sox. And then it's about a trip that they make to see Ted Williams when Ted Williams was in his terminal stages in Florida a few years ago. To visit him before his death. So there's actually both stories.
Now, is this a kind of book that somebody who didn't know anything about baseball would enjoy?
Well, you would. Anybody would enjoy this book, but you know, if you're a Red Sox fan, it's just you know, it's a must-read. If you're a baseball fan, it's pretty much a must-read also. But it's quite touching when you hear about how emotionally attached these four players all were or became during their baseball careers in Boston.
Well, do you learn much about baseball, or does it really concentrate on the relationship between these four guys?
Oh, there's some great baseball stories about, you know, some of the Red Sox games and some famous events that baseball fans know about. It provides a lot of insight into how much of a perfectionist Ted Williams was as a baseball player. Everybody knows who follows baseball that he was probably one of the greatest hitters of all time. And that was two reasons. One is he was extremely talented, but also he was just driven to perfection. He would just simply analyze every aspect of the pitchers that he was batting against.
Well, it sounds like the book, although it's called The Teammates, tends to concentrate on Ted Williams then.
Well, it's about their relationship with Ted Williams, but it's really about all four players. But it was inspired by the fact that they were going to visit him at the time that he was dying.
Okay, and the title of the book again?
The Teammates.
Okay, and you can find The Teammates by David Halberstam at your local library and your favorite bookstore.
Yes.
My thanks to BJ and John Brewer for a little touch of baseball today. Coming up next, Kelly Rhea talks to Rosemary Zarsky of the Choctaw Library about a book called Boston Jane, which is for our teen readers.
We have a really good book today. It's called Boston Jane, The Claim, and it's by Jennifer Holm. And tell us about the plot.
Well, the plot's following the story that came in the first two books about this young lady from Boston who was raised as a proper young lady, comes to a very backwater town called Showalter Bay, and survives. I mean, she's gone to meet her fiance in the first book. He sort of has married someone else in the meantime. And in this particular story, she has her own property. She's in several businesses with people in the community. She is a gainful community member. She's helped the community and she's received help from the community.
Which is really special for this time period, because isn't it set, you said, about the mid-1800s?
That's right.
So for a woman to own property is unusual.
It's actually illegal according to the people in the state, and they're going to take it because to pay her back for being successful. And she is fighting to keep her claim. She's fighting to keep her friends because one of her arch enemies from Philadelphia, school she went to, has come. And so it's sort of like a never-ending battle on all fronts, and will she ever figure out how she's going to survive this? And what is the value of loyalty and friendship? And it's a very fascinating picture of how the West was tamed from a more microscopic point of view. And it was people like Jane, and it was people like Sally who made the West, which means...
So there's kind of a tug of war, is that correct, in between Jane and Sally?
Oh yes, definitely a tug of war. And Sally is a very mean-spirited person.
And all kids have someone like that usually at their school,
yes.
so they can relate to that aspect.
Yes. And Jane is one who has faced hardship after hardship, has overcome them all, either by her spirit, her will, or her friends have helped her. You know, when she first came, they made her strong, and now she's being strong for some of them in the story.
That's great, and that sets a good example for kids too, the ones that read it. So we hope that you'll look for Boston Jane, The Claim. It's by Jennifer Holm, and look for that in your favorite bookstore or your local library.
My thanks to Kelly and Rosemary. You know, I don't know how Rosemary finds enough time in the day to read as much as she does, but I'm glad she does find the time. She reads some interesting books. Coming up next, though, I'll be chatting with Jim Nimmo from the Downtown Library about a musical style he and I both enjoy very much. So here's Jim Nimmo talking about bel canto singing. Last time you were here, not too long ago, we talked about, started talking about bel canto opera. Tell us a little about that. We'll continue with that today.
Okay.
What exactly is bel canto?
Bel canto is an Italian phrase, and literally it means beautiful singing, but most singing is beautiful. But I would say that bel canto concentrates more on the sounds that are produced by the singer, and the words are secondary in meaning. Therefore, the singer doesn't have to force the voice to give an emphasis to a particular meaning of a word, but rather is able to focus on producing the beautiful sound, the rounded sound, the focused sound that is a trademark of classical singing.
Okay, and who are some of the bel canto composers?
Bellini, Rossini, Donizetti, mostly Italian composers.
Yep.
But since it's called bel canto, that seems kind of fitting.
That would make sense. Yeah. Now, for a long time, this was the bel canto catalog was not sung very much. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yes, it's very a florid kind of singing, and since it requires so much concentration on tone quality, singers aren't able to hide behind the orchestration or behind the characterization that they give to that role, and so there are rare singers that can do it, and that's why it's so special when we have people like Renee Fleming or Maria Callas, or in today's CD that we're going to be looking at, Marcelo Alvarez, an Argentine tenor. It becomes they stand out almost immediately.
Okay. Now, is it mostly a female genre bel canto?
No, tenors also get in on it. Like say Pavarotti, he was a bel canto tenor, and now with his retirement, other tenors are coming to the fore who are able to sing this style of music.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about Alvarez, the singer that you've chosen to listen to today.
Like I said, he's from Argentina, and he's making the rounds of the world opera houses, like I said, with Pavarotti's retirement and also Domingo's retirement, I'm sure, which is going to be very soon. It allows other lesser-known tenors to come to the fore, and they get their place in the sun. So
we'll have a new set of three tenors pretty soon.
Yes, yes, you will. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's listen to a little bit from Alvarez's work, and thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right.
Sol chi vuole si senti fedele, non va amor non ho, se non dà libertà. Ti mariti il geloso furore, degli amanti la smania carino. Un codargo, di cent'occhi di sfido, se mi punge, una qualche beltà.
I always enjoy chatting with Jim about classical music, but you know, one of the most frustrating things about listening to the great bel canto singers is that I don't sound like them, and I wish that I did. Men have been hanged for having voices like mine, but that's why we have CDs, so you don't have to listen to me any more than necessary on television. Coming up next, though, to get away from me even more, is Heidi Daniel Morgan chatting with one of our routine readers, Noah Woods, about the Lemony Snicket books. Let's see what they had to say.
Hi, Noah.
Hi.
I'm glad you're here. Tell me a little bit about the book you chose to read.
Well, I chose a series of unfortunate events, book 5. It was Austria Academy, and it was a good book. It was kind of a mystery type book, and it was about 3 kids named Violet, Klaus, and Sunny who were orphans. Their parents had died in like a fire at their mansion. There's this bad guy named Count Olaf who's like after their fortune.
Now, how did he become interested in their fortune?
He was their great something uncle or something like that, and so they had like gone to live at his house in the first book, and he like tried to steal their fortune, and they figured out some way to get away from him. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's good. So, and then this is the 5th book in the series?
Yeah. I think there's like 10 books so far. I'm not sure.
So what happens specifically in book 5?
Well, they end up going to this school named Austria Academy that has like this weird, what do you call it? The line, the catchphrase or something. It says Memento, which means remember you will die. And they have this vice principal Nero guy, and he's like this creep. I mean, he's like, he like plays the violin, and he's like really bad at it, and he's really mean. He mimics everything they say, and he puts them in this place called the Orphan Shack.
Ooh, the Orphan Shack?
Yeah, it's got like these little like crab people, little tiny crabs that are like really territorial, and they like bite, they like claw them whenever they come in, and so they're like trying to figure out a way to get the crabs away, and then they get like this fungus in their ceiling that's like dripping this goop all over the place, and it looks like this. It's got these green walls with hearts on them, and it's like really ugly.
So did you enjoy the book?
I didn't enjoy the first one, but the 5th one was all right.
You like the 5th one, all right?
Yeah.
Well, would you recommend it to other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And did you like the ending? How did it end?
It kind of ended like as you have to read the 6th book to find out what's going to happen.
So it's a cliffhanger. It keeps you reading?
Yeah.
Good. Well, Lemony Snicket is the author, and he's written the whole series. There's 10, you think, right now?
Yeah, I think the last one is Carnival, but I think that's 9 actually.
Great, and there's going to be a movie, I hear, too, coming up.
Yeah,
so
it's going to cover, I think, books 1 through 3. It's going to have Jim Carrey as Count Olaf.
Jim Carrey's Count Olaf. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling us about the book today, Noah. It sounds like fun. Thanks.
You're welcome.
That was Noah Wood and Heidi and Lemony Snicket, and my thanks to all 3 of them. Coming up next, we have our special author interview. BJ chatted recently with local author Ann Lacey. Now, Ann has written just about everything you can write. She's written legitimate plays, she's written musicals, she's written poetry, biographies, even a book on fashion, but she's just recently switched over to writing some fiction. She's written 1 novel. The book she wants to tell you about today is her 2nd novel, but it's her first one for children. So here are BJ and Ann Lacey talking about Ann's book, Misty's Amazing Journey.
And this story about a cat who gets lost and makes her way home, what inspired you to write that?
Well, in 1989, there was an article in the Daily Oklahoman about a cat that was lost, or wasn't lost, it was exiled. Let me read you this little blurb here. Misty's Amazing Journey is based on a true story from 1989. A cat named Mirka was exiled to a town 450 miles away from her original home for eating her family's 2 canaries.
Uh-oh.
On her journey home, she crossed swamps, forests, and rivers. By the time she reached home, she had a nick in one ear and had lost part of her tail. She was hungry and tired. After eating her fill, she slept for 3 days. She wasn't home long before she gave birth to 3 kittens.
Uh-oh.
So that's what prompted the story.
So now this is a story that is to be read to children. Did you have to take a different approach? I know you've written a novel and a number of other things for adults.
Well, they tell me that I'm not a children's writer, basically, but they tell me that when you write a children's story, it's very different. So I had a friend of mine who has 4 children, my best friend Bonnie Coker, read the story, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, you can't have that cat eat that fish." I had Misty pass a tide pool and she was hungry, so she caught a fish. So I thought, well, if I can't have her do that, what can I have her do? So I have her come along the beach where there was a campfire and someone had left half a bun and half a wiener. So she ate the weenie instead of the fish. So you have to be sensitive to those kinds of things, which I never gave a thought to before.
Yeah.
So after several people had read it, and then they said, well, this isn't necessarily a children's story. I said, it's wonderful to be read to children, but it's a cat lover's story. Anyone who loves cats would love this story. So it's really about Misty's journey through the swamp and the animals she meets there, and this main cat that she meets, Brutus. And he's a big, ugly swamp cat, but he becomes a very handsome cat to her after he's attracted to her and he's cleaned himself up. And the story then, he leads her through the swamp with the help of a cat network to get her back to her family.
Now, how did you come up with the idea of a cat network?
I think probably from Cats, the play, seeing so many different cats and things, so I used those in the book. And then the art in the book is from clip art, so I have several pictures of different cats. There's Tall Cat and Slim Cat and Glamour Cat and some that are known cats, and then I've added some other cats.
Well, did you have fun naming them? I know you had a whole delightful list of names.
I had fun, and I had a great deal of fun describing them. Let me read you one little section here where she meets Brutus. Around a slight bend in a weathered gray around a slight bend in the road, a weathered gray cabin came into view. Smoke drifted lazily out the chimney. A porch, 2 steps up from the ground, ran around the front. Misty stared at the dark, shadowed area under the porch. It looked like a good place to hide and rest. She eased forward and peered into the darkness. Then she edged up the steps. A bowl of cat food sat beside the door along with a bowl of water. Was someone expecting her? She dived into the dish of food and ate greedily. Suddenly, a low hiss caused her hair to stand on end. She stopped eating. Her heart stopped as a closer, louder hiss rent the morning air. Misty froze, not daring to move. A minute passed, another minute passed. Terrified at what she might see, she slowly turned her head. Behind her sat a huge, ugly, dirty orange tomcat. His hair was matted and tangled. Misty could see burrs in it here and there. A few white hairs sparked his huge paws and his deep chest. He had stiff, broken whiskers that stuck out at funny angles. It was his eyes that held Misty's fearful attention. One was gray-blue and the other was brown with yellow flecks. They didn't match. Misty had never seen eyes that didn't match before. He had a nick out of one ear and a scar on his nose. He was ugly, but despite his scraggly appearance, he didn't look mean. So I had fun creating the characters. It was, I could make him, do anything I wanted to, look any way, and then after he's cleaned up, he becomes very handsome. You barely notice the scar on his nose and so on. So
well, he ended up being, for all of his ferocious appearance, as you said, he didn't look mean, and he ended up being a very kindly cat.
Yes, yes.
And now, in this story, the cats get together at the full of the moon. Do they howl at the moon?
I create an area in the swamp where a meteorite has landed. And it has these silver flecks on it, and the moon reflects off those, and it gives it a glow. And it's kind of haunted to everybody, to every other animal, but the cats like it. And so they meet there at the full of the moon. And it's with the help of the cat network that she meets there that they get her back to her home.
Now she falls in love with Brutus in the story, but there's a compelling reason for her to go home, isn't there?
Yes. Her little mistress has had an accident and couldn't walk, and so she had been at the shore to kind of convalesce, and the family had to go home. And when the family got ready to go home, Misty was suddenly kidnapped by a little boy that took her a long way down the beach. So the family went to the mountains without her. So then she had to find her way back to the cottage, and when she got there, the family was gone, and then she decided she would head for the mountains. And that's when she got into the swamp and found out she couldn't get out. So that's when she needed the help. And that's when she met Brutus, and then he introduced her to the Cat Network. And they got her almost home, but the network broke down. And she was lost. And hungry and alone and afraid and pregnant.
Poor little girl. But she made it home, didn't she?
She made it home.
On Christmas Eve. I thought that was a very nice touch.
So she delivered a very nice gift to the family with 3 kittens.
Well, this is a great story, as you said, to be read to children. We are encouraged always to read to our children, and I think this is a wonderful story that would probably prompt a lot of discussion afterwards about cats and their living with people and so on.
And I took this one through a swamp, and I thought if I wrote 3 more stories with the 3 kittens, one of them going back to the swamp to meet his father, and another one stowaway on a ship that goes to Africa so that the cat can go see all the animals in the Serengeti, and then the other one could take a trip on a meteor or spaceship and go into outer space. So I left openings for other stories with these kittens.
Very clever.
Well, now I just have to get them written.
Right. Well, I hope that you come back and tell us about the adventures of Brutus and Misty's children then.
All right.
Thanks.
Be happy to.
Thank you very much, Anne.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Well, that's the show this week. Thanks everybody for watching. And I also want to thank everybody who came by the studio and talked to us about favorite books and videos and CDs. You know, they can remind us too that all those things are available at every branch of the Metropolitan Library System library. So be sure to drop by whatever one's closest to you and see what we've got. Also, you can check us out on the web. Our address is www.metrolibrary.org. And you can go on there, look at our catalog. If you see something you'd like to check out, put a reserve in on it online, and we'll send it to whatever library is closest to you. So thanks again for being with us, and we will see you again next week.